Hi, I'm Jules here from Tapping with Jules, and I'm an EFT trainer and advanced practitioner and mentor. And I'm just doing some little videos about the benefits of EFT and some different aspects of EFT. And today we're focusing on the benefits of having a good EFT swap partner. So I have got here with me my main squeeze, my main swap partner. This is Dr. Melissa Hankins, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, yes, I am a psychiatrist by background, and I am a coach for physicians and professionals in the burnout space. And I am completing and working towards my certification actually for EFT. And I'm just excited to be here and talk with Jules about swapping.
Yeah, that's right. So we met, I don't know how many years ago it was, but we were both doing tapping out of trauma, weren't we?
Yes.
And I remember we just started, we were both commenting on a particular thread or something, and I was like, wow, a psychiatrist that does EFT, how exciting, like just to know another mental health professional that's actually practicing EFT. And we just started messaging each other, and then we took it to private message, and then we just were like, do you want to do some swaps? And we have been going weekly for a long time, haven't we? I don't even know how long.
Yes, absolutely. And it was, I think it was the fact that we were both mental health professionals that piqued both of our interests, because we had that in common. And then our EFT, our love for EFT, which was unusual.
That's right. It's hard to find other mental health professionals who are certified in EFT or getting certified in EFT. There's not a lot of us around that I know of.
Right. And then there was just this beautiful energy. I think we seem to think alike, that seemed to come across in some of our comments. And so absolutely, we took it offline and started, messaging and got together for swaps. And it was, been beautiful.
It's been fabulous. And so some of the benefits, so for me, what I really love about EFT compared to my kind of social work professional background, is in EFT, there's this acknowledgement that all humans get triggered, right? Like that people, situations in our life bring up our stuff, and that's the job of friends and colleagues and trainers and, mentors, etc. So that's a normal, natural thing that happens. And so what I love about having a good swap partner is you've got somewhere to put all that stuff. Yes, I mean, of course, we need to do our own tapping, and you and I both do our own tapping when we need to. But if you have a regular appointment, like I have my little book here of things I need to tap on.
Yes.
I never get to the end of it. And so I can be like, oh, I'm going to tap on that.
Like with me, but I have my little tapping journal and I put my topic.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So, as a social worker, you'd have supervision, but it would all be about the clients, and you wouldn't sort of talk about how things, how a client might trigger you really necessarily. And there wasn't really talk about burnout or, whereas with EFT, it's just like, you need to do your own work to keep yourself healthy emotionally and to keep yourself a nice kind of clear vessel so that you can be present for the people that you're working with. And to me, just having a swap partner is just the perfect way to do that, because who actually does sit there for an hour and do their own tapping on something,
Right. It's
hard, isn't it?
Yes. Because I find, of course, when I do my own tapping in that way, my mind starts to wander. You just can't help it because it starts to open things up. And so when you're working with someone, when you're working with a swap partner, or if you're paying an EFT practitioner and working with them, but when you are working with someone, they keep you on track. They keep you, focused.
Yeah.
And that is so important, because as we know, being specific is the key to really great EFT. So
And you can't, you know, and if you're doing it with another person who you trust, if you're the client, you can just drop into that space, be the client, follow the unconscious mind, you know, follow the body. Whereas if you're trying to do it for yourself, it is challenging, isn't it? I mean,
It's a
people
lot
put themselves down
yes,
about not doing their own tapping. Yeah, but it's not that easy, really, is it? Like I do, you know, I do it on the go, obviously, but if you have things you really want to work on, like I always say to people, I didn't get to be a trainer. It didn't happen by magic, you know, it's been weekly tapping with you. Absolutely. And, you know, like constantly doing your own work on your own triggers and your own limiting beliefs and your own core issues and your own fears. It's just how it is.
Yes,
work,
absolutely. And you know, and sometimes you'll have more things come up than what you may have realized, which for me, it slowed down my journey for certification. And yet I keep going. And part of that is because I have a really great swap partner. And so that has been an integral part of my self-care, not just my journey as, you know, towards certification, but my own self-care journey. And so that's really, really important. And you know, one of the things that, and we touched on this even just a little bit at the beginning, of finding a good match in terms of personality, things you have in common, and also a good match in terms of EFT style. So
that's right.
And I have gone, you know, through the same kind of training program, EFT International, and so it's very. There are very clear delineations of what is expected for that route. And if you end up working with a swap partner who is, say, maybe trained in a different program or through a different, you know, you have to just really keep in mind that things may be different, and having safety in your EFT swap relationship is really important.
That's right. And that's where, you know, we have some little tips for finding a good swap partner. And we were sort of talking about how, because there needs to be that comfort with that person to be able to say, you know, I like to focus on a specific event, for example, or like it's, you know, we were saying, like it's kind of like finding a sexual partner in a way, or someone to go on dates with. There has to be good communication. It can get quite personal. It can get quite intimate. You have to be able to say, I don't really like it like that, or could we, you know, like I don't like tapping with anybody that doesn't use my words, that throws in their own spin on things. I just don't like that, right? So I'm not going to swap with anyone that, you know, so you and I have that, you know, so we're trained by the same people, and, you know, we've done a lot of the same trainings, but we have that understanding. This is how we do it. And and to be able to just acknowledge if it doesn't feel like a good fit. So we were saying it's good if you find a swap partner that you think might be a good fit, to just pre-frame things, isn't it? And just to say, let's just try 3 swap sessions each. So 3 where I'm the client, 3 where you're the client. So 6 sessions altogether we commit to, and just see how it works out. But we're not getting married, like we're going on a date, but we're not getting married or buying a house.
Yes. And the reason, you know, rather than just doing one-on-one session, because with just one session, you might not get a really great understanding or feel for things, because it's the first time you're together. And so it might be a little awkward, and you're working out, you know, and all of that. So being able to have 3 each really can give you a reasonable amount, trial, to see if it's going to be a good fit for all of those reasons: the chemistry, the sense of safety, the feeling, okay, this person's use of EFT, the way that they structure their EFT sessions is aligned with how I structure mine, and that feels good.
That's right. And then if it's doesn't feel like a good fit, you break up. No hard feelings. But
No.
I'm really looking for someone that I feel very aligned with. And anyway, I mean, it's hard to have those conversations, but you can tap on that, can't you?
You can
and then
tap
we were
on it all.
you can tap on it all. And then we were talking about how, you know, what can happen then is that if it is a good fit and you have regular sessions, you can become friends basically. And then there can be some little things that come up there. And one of them is, like, I know with my mentees, I really encourage them to have swap partners and regular swaps. And one of the things that can happen is, we just end up chatting for 40 minutes and then there's not much time to tap. Or, you know, we're talking so much about our enthusiasm for EFT, but we don't really get any tapping done. It's like, like you and I have a few minutes of chatting, but then boom, what are we working on this week?
Exactly.
We have a file. You know, we have a file on each other, and I say, last time we worked on this, how'd you go with that?
Yes,
we're very focused.
Yes, exactly. We're just like if we were each other's paying clients, we absolutely keep files and go back and say, okay, this is what we were tapping on last time. Is this, you know, and so that's really, really important. And if we find that we start to chat a little much, I know both you and I will interject. If I'm the practitioner, you're the practitioner, we'll be like, oh, okay, so what are we tapping on? Kindly,
let's come back to that event.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah. So it's that, so that, I mean, that really helps. You have an accountability partner. We work on goals. You know, we both work on goals around writing and that kind of thing. We end up having that in common. He knew. And you know, we were just talking about how having an EFT swap partner, it's just like any relationship. You go through phases, you know, like we basically commit to weekly 90-minute sessions, unless, you know, if your son comes to visit, we don't do it. If I'm on holidays, we don't do it. So obviously you have breaks, but otherwise pretty much we committed to one another. And I think we used to do fortnightly, but then if one person had to miss, it just felt like too long, didn't it?
Right, exactly.
And you couldn't get that momentum going if you're working on a specific goal, which we do these days.
Exactly. So this is really a nice rhythm. We've got a really nice rhythm of being able to work together. And, you know, on the very rare occasion where one of us is, say, in a sense of crisis, like where say if I'm having a critical situation for myself, that I'm like, oh my God, I need help tapping on this, and but I'm supposed to be the practitioner that week. And, you know, we might switch up, and Jules will agree to be the practitioner, because obviously, you know, yes, we're friends and we want to help each other out that way. But if I'm in a highly crisis, you know, in this state, I'm not going to be a good practitioner anyway.
That's right. So we have an understanding that it's equal. So it's my turn this week and it's your turn that week. It's my turn the week. So it's very, you know, that's very equal. It never really ends up being that one person is receiving more than giving, because that's another thing that can happen. Like I notice with my mentees and other colleagues, I'm always the practitioner. Well, what's up with that? Why are you doing that? Why are you not being the client? Do you not like being the client with them? Well, then you shouldn't be a partner.
Right.
And I think like giving your time away for free.
Yes.
Why would you do that?
Do that because if they're always, you know, if they're saying, oh, you can be the practitioner, you know, you can practice, and that often is, well, can be, not always. If that person who's volunteering to always be the client, so that the other person can build up their skills, it may be because that client is feeling self-conscious about being a practitioner, and so they really need to be the practitioner. So
that's right. And then you would tap on that, even though I feel nervous just thinking about being a practitioner today. Because I'm not confident in my skills yet, and you're better than me, or you know, whatever that is. So so it's such a good it's such a good container. If you find the right fit, and keep searching if you haven't found it. If you find the right fit, it can just be a perfect container, a safe container in which to do lots of really good work on yourself, and then help yourself reach your goals, and the satisfaction of seeing someone else reach their goals. And don't you just learn a lot about EFT by being the client, Melissa?
Yes.
I reckon I've learned more about how to do good EFT really through being the client myself a million trillion times in some ways than anything I've ever read or, you know, trained. This is a learning. This is a real school for me, being the client.
I think, you know, for me, being both the client and the practitioner, both of them have such value. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to make sure that it's very balanced in terms of, you know, who's practitioner, who's client. Yeah. You know, when you're working with your swap partner, because there is so much value that you can glean from both roles.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, that's you know,
and it'll be a good little mirror for where you need to work on your own boundaries too, won't it? Like, I think that, like any relationship, it'll bring up stuff, you know, I want to say this to her, but I don't really know how to say that. That's going to sound a bit mean. Okay, well, I need to tap on that. You know, like it's such a good way to learn how to be a good practitioner.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, I remember there was a time where, you know, you were the client and I was the practitioner, and I was using your words, but too many words for where you were at that point. And you stated that because that's not what you needed in that moment, and it just felt much. And I absolutely in that moment I changed my strategy as the practitioner, you know, and worked with you and listened to you and responded to that. And yet afterwards I was like, oh, did I do something really wrong? And so I had to do a little tap. Then we communicated afterwards. Really important point, so that you don't, if there are things that come up, and this is true for,
and there will be.
Yes, because it's a relationship, right?
That's right.
So, but when things do come up, that you communicate that. And if you are feeling like, oh, I want to say something, or I feel like I should say something, but I can't, do some tapping on yourself. Or if you really have to, you know, tap with someone else, and then come back to your swap partner and communicate. So communication is a foundation of any relationship, right? So.
And then the relationship grows, and you know, you get beyond little challenges, and then it just gets better, really. And so I think we were also saying that, you know, like, so we're not exclusive to one another. Like, we tap with each other weekly, but I also have another swap partner in Argentina. I'm having paid weekly sessions at the moment because, you know, stuff came up that I thought, actually, I don't, you know, we don't depend on each other for everything. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a healthy balance. I can rely on Melissa to be there for me if I'm having a crisis, as you say, but if there's something, you know, I can't put all my eggs in her basket.
Right.
You know, it's not that kind of dependence.
Right. And I also have a paid weekly EFT practitioner as well, in addition to working with Jules. And so it's a beautiful, it's not that, oh, I'm going to hurt Jules's feelings if I'm working with someone. And Jules is like, oh, I'm going to hurt Melissa's feelings if I'm working with someone else in addition to her. No, we understand that is us being responsible for our own needs, our own self-care, our own growth.
Because I want you to get what you need, and you want me to get what I need, and I don't expect any one person to be solely responsible for what I need except me.
Exactly.
So all right, well, this has been a great discussion, Melissa. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I hope that this just encourages all of you out there, anyone that's listening to that, to find a swap partner. EFT International has an actual section on their website that you can go to find a swap partner. And if you're one of my mentees, please just be in touch, and I'm happy to help hook people up.
Yes,
go on first dates.
Let Jules hook you up.
Yeah, let me hook you up. All right, thank you so much, Melissa.
Jules.
Yeah, I am actually, yes. All right, thanks for that. Bye, everybody.
Bye.